Hello and welcome back to Billy Ho Sports, where research is key and maybe we win sometimes, right? So this is going to be a preview for the other $1 million Grade One, the Cotillion Stakes, coming up this weekend at Parks. I've already done the Pennsylvania Derby preview, so be sure to check that out. I'm going to be releasing another in the Contender Series for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Check that out as well. I'm also going to be looking at some past performances as soon as they come out for the following stakes races, all on Saturday, all at Parks, including races like the Grade 2 Gallant Bob and the Grade 3 Greenwood. So, that being said, I want to ask you to please subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, leave me a comment, and let's get this thing started. Okay, as I mentioned in the Pennsylvania Derby preview show, before we start with the contenders in the Cotillion, I wanted to talk a bit about Parks, the racetrack. And it is regarded generally as a speed type of track. Therefore, front runners maybe stalking at the most, but up close to the pace, turning for home. Potential for closers is somewhat limited. There's a lot more wire to wire winners. So you want to be out on the lead. You want to be fast early and maybe then set your own pace, things of that nature. So we're going to start with number 1, Foggy Night, 12-1 morning line, trained by Robert Reed, ridden by Florent Geroux. This filly, 3 wins and 2 seconds in 5 races this year, which is pretty nice. The last race, I believe it's called Catherine S. Stakes at Parks. Nice little win here by Foggy Night, running up front, like I said. But it was pretty pedestrian as far as the pace goes. So I think she does obviously also have a grade three win in the Monmouth Oaks as well. But it doesn't seem to me like she's going to be able to keep up with some of these other bigger horses in this race, like the Oaks winner and others like that. Now, the number 2, I think, might offer a little bit of value. 5-1 morning line odds is the 5-1 Ceiling Crusher, trained by Doug O'Neill, and will be ridden by Ed Maldonado. This one is 4 out of 5 this year and looking like a real threat to spring an upset. This Torrey Pines race, I was particularly impressed with at Del Mar. It was so well ran, and the credit to the jockey for getting out there fast. I mean, he blasts out of the gate like a bat out of hell. She got to the lead and sets a pretty fiery 22 and change opening quarter. But then once on the lead, she settles down. The jock settles her in to a 46 half. And then 3/4 in 111 and change, which is not blistering by any shot. So it got out there to the quick lead and kind of stunned them, so to speak. And then had plenty of horse left to set the drive home. So I think that race was at a mile. So I add an extra 16th. I don't think it's going to matter with this horse at all. So I like the chances for Ceiling Crusher here. Number 3 is Pretty Mischievous, 2-1 morning line favorite, trained by Brendan Walsh, and I believe will be ridden by Tyler Gaffleone. What can you say about this filly other than she's probably the well-deserved favorite? On paper, probably the best horse, technically on a 3-game race win streak, stemming from that epic win in the Kentucky Oaks, and then came out and backed that up in the Acorn, and then came back in the most recent was the Test Stakes, where she was trailing the clear best. Rest in peace, Maple Leaf Mel. My heart dropped. I actually found the race, and I'm going to show it to you, but I'm not going to show you that. But I just wanted you to see where in reference to Maple Leaf Mel, where Pretty Mischievous was. And clearly Maple Leaf Mel had her over a barrel. She was closing some and just kind of, I hate to say stepped over the top of Maple Leaf Mel, but it just kind of looked that way. She just kind of ran by for the place and then just was awarded the win due to those circumstances. So anyway, although she did get credit for the win, it was a second place finish in my book. I still arguably the best horse in the race. Obviously, the grade 1 win at the Alcorn, we can show that. The Kentucky Oaks, as well was just an incredible performance. So the early pressing run style fits perfectly for this race, and the post draw should allow her to get in the prime position. So I'm going to say she is definitely the one to beat. Now, on to number 4, Who's Your Filly? 6-1 morning line, trained by Tom Amos, ridden by Johnny V. John Velasquez in the mount. Disappointing 8th in the Charlestown Oaks just after that big win in the Monomoy Girl at Ellis Park. Don't know what happened at Charlestown. Maybe night racing got to her or something. I don't know. She got up front and set some reasonable fractions. And then in the Monomoy Girl, which left plenty of horse for the finish, I think the Charlestown Oaks was a little bit more contested pace. Maybe she just didn't hang with the pace as well. I think she's maybe in a similar boat as Foggy Night, where if the pace is too fast, she won't be near the lead like she should be. That's what I'm thinking. So instead of being second or third, she's going to be like 6th and back 5 or 6 lengths off the lead in the second or third flight. So if that happens, Who's Your Filly will not be fast enough down the stretch to get there. Now, the fractions, like I said, in the Charlestown Oaks were much faster, and she was cooked at a half mile. So I did make note of that. So sorry I didn't mention that sooner. Number 5, Occult. 6-1 Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz combination. This sounds really good on paper. They ran a solid third in the grade 1 Acorn, then came back to take down the grade 3 Mon Mistakes. The only problem is I believe she is a closer, pressing style at the best, stalker closer, but comes from behind, and she might need to change tactics to be up closer to the lead here, because laying back and trying to close from, I don't know, 7 or 8 lengths back is not going to get it here. So I think Occult will need to change tactics. I'm not really looking at that one as an option. Number 6, Just Catherine. 12-1 morning line, trained by Jose Jimenez, and Junior Alvarado gets the mount. Recently won a $50K optional claiming allowance race at Saratoga, and going off a 3-week turnaround. She ran that race at September 4th. So just 3 weeks off. So I think she's going to definitely have to catch lightning in a bottle coming back that fast to run tough versus this field. So not garnering much interest for me here. So I'll probably end up passing. Number 7, Defining Purpose, 4-1 is a different story. Kenny McPeak trained, ridden by Brian Hernandez. Second choice in the morning line. Made a huge splash back in the spring, winning the grade 1 Ashland, upsetting that heavily favored Punch Bowl. She obviously took her shot in the Kentucky Oaks, running up there with the leaders much the way through the race, but into the final turn kind of gave it up, ran 7th. She ran similar up front in the Alabama Stakes, only to finish 3rd. I think very steady, Eddie. Her running style on this track could end up putting her in position to win this race. She is, like I said, steady down the stretch and should be able to hold her position at Parks more than any of the other racetracks she's looked at. So I think better position, 3rd off the layoff as well, looking to improve. So Defining Purpose, definitely on my radar. Amanra, 10-1, Safi Joseph, trained filly. Tyler Connor in the saddle. Ran a solid 2nd in the Iowa Oaks, then came back for the Charlestown Oaks, did not fare well. Maybe another one that didn't like night racing. I don't know. Long shot to win, in my opinion, but it is possible she's improving, and if you believe that, could hit the board. Something that is intriguing, she's a half-sister to Forte, so sired by Violence. So interesting horse. I think maybe one that might be on my outskirts, like say would be used in the bottom half of the try, things of that nature. So we'll see. Maybe there's a pace meltdown. Maybe there's something odd that happens, and we get a long shot in there. Stranger things, right? So we're going to finish it up with the longest shot, Majestic Creed at 30-1, trained by Bobby and Hawthorne, and going to be ridden by Michael Sanchez. So probably the longest shot in the for a reason. She did hang in there pretty good versus Foggy Night in that Catherine S. Closed a little bit to get the show, but just from the far outside, I don't see a big chance here, in my opinion, to win this race. But to sum things up, probably not going out on a limb saying I like Pretty Mischievous to win. I really wanted to find a value play, and I think Ceiling Crusher might be it. Ceiling Crusher has won every race with the exception of a really bad trip, I believe, two back at Del Mar, where she got had some bumped and had to be taken back. So loving the early speed. If she can flash that speed like she did in her last race at Del Mar, I think you have to consider. You also have to consider defining purpose, obviously, and I think I'm going to have to see post or past performances, obviously, but I'm hoping to see something better from Amonra in particular. So anyway, I should be back later in the week with more information, final analysis once I see post positions on this race, on the Pennsylvania Derby. Then you got the Gallant Bob and Greenwood as well. So so much. Thanks for the support and everything. Thanks for watching. Till the next time. See you soon.